Gen X grew up on late-night warnings.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Scared, straight.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
And were inspired by movies that defined a generation.
We were all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it, that's all.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I feel the need for speed.
We found our attitude in comedy.
I'm Gumby, damn it!
You see that sign? No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Right. Learn it. Know it. Live it.
And our identity in pop culture.
I want my MTV!
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV!
What you talking about, Willis?
Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
This is Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhide.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
All right, welcome in everyone. Episode 29. Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhide with you. He is back in central Maine, although it snowed there, apparently. Welcome to April in New England. And it's probably going to be 75 this weekend there, if I had to guess.
We're going to be in the high 50s and sunny.
Right,
but it was funny. Tuesday, we did get an inch of snow, and I sent you that picture of you see the electric fireplace, the dog at the door, and the snow piling up outside. But it's all gone at this point. So
yeah, it's going to be 90 degrees here next week.
Really?
I'm not making that up. We have on my weather app.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 2 days next week in the 90s. Let me see if I can pull that up. I don't know if it's going to be big enough, but you will see here. I don't know if you can read that or not.
Sort of not, but okay. I can see it. Yep.
92. So that's real exciting.
We're going to top out at 63 on the 14th, according to my weather app.
There you go.
90
anyway,
though.
You know where it is well below all of those temperatures, and that's space.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
We have Artemis II getting ready to splash down. We're recording this on April 9th, so on April 10th, it's supposed to end up in the Pacific Ocean. I had pulled up the NASA feed on YouTube, and right now they're just showing a visualization of what the capsule looks like in space. It is currently 152,000 miles and dropping away from Earth. Okay,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I think they said that the original when they went behind the moon, it was maxed out at like 252,000 miles, which is the farthest any human has been away from Earth.
Correct.
Sorry.
If you believe that we've actually gone there, as
I
do my tinfoil hatting that I see on X constantly. Whenever there's an Artemis update or anything, people go, yeah, really good green screen, fellas.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to get to is seeing some of the stuff pop up. It's always they're in a warehouse in Houston. And
exactly.
I'm like, okay, you guys still believe this at this point. I mean, I will be shocked if we ever find out it's all fake. Don't get me wrong, but I just go at this point. I mean, this isn't the 60, like we've had shuttles, we've had space stations, we've had other countries do this. It's not as if, we're just still banking on we're the only ones doing it. And it's
right.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, my thing is if this is the case, if they're faking it, and at some point it all has to come to an end, because what's the next thing? They've talked about trying to send manned missions to Mars, right?
Yes.
If you're going to fake that, like, okay, it's one thing if you're going to say we put these folks in a warehouse in Houston for 10 days, hit them away, whatever it is. Like they, show the video of them getting into the rocket, and then there's some back, trap door where they get out of it. And then you whisk them off somewhere to whatever, television movie set that you want them to be on while they float around in space or supposed to. Well, it's going to take literally what, years to get to Mars? Isn't that what they've said?
I think, yeah, it's a 2-year mission to get there one way.
Whatever it is. So you're going to sequester these people in a warehouse for 2 years, and people are going to agree to that? That's the thing that here's what gets me on all of this stuff, that everything is fake, especially now. Like, you don't think at some point any of these people would be like, yeah, no, we didn't go. That wasn't real. We didn't go up in a rocket. Like, at some point, somebody would, like, think of all the hundreds of people that are involved in this. And nobody has come out and said definitively on the record, this is all fake.
Well, and that's always been my thing, and people can argue it is the amount of people involved makes, in any event, let's just say any event that you're trying to fake, keep covered up, etc. The amount of people involved, the more there are, there's the greater chance it's going to get exposed, leaked, etc. Right?
Right.
So to say that this entire space program has been nothing but fakery, and you're telling me over the course at this point of 70 some years that there's not one single person, one disgruntled, just that comes out and goes, yeah, it's all fake. Right. Now, I think there's been one or two, but I mean, it's not enough to carry the, maybe we should look into this.
Right. Well, my thing, I go on the great American inventor. I guess he's considered a founding father, was never present, but Ben Franklin, greatest quote of all time on any of this conspiracy stuff from Ben Franklin. 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead.
Correct.
So that's what this, to me, that's what this is. It's like you have, now you might be able to say, you know what, well, they've just fooled all of those people that work for NASA, all those people in the control room. They don't know that they're actually not doing like.
That's always my favorite one.
I just don't think it would be possible to keep that from everybody.
Well, it just, and extending it, they always talk about the JFK conspiracy. That one I'm a little bit more like, well, because that can be pulled off by a small select group, right?
Exactly.
It with certain things happening, you could pull that off and just have a couple people involved who knows if you did the movie that maybe that couple people involved in the actual day ended up being not around after, right? I mean, it's such a smaller contained situation versus, hey, we're just creating this whole space program and all the infrastructure. And secondarily to some of that, we're pulling the wool over all these people with advanced degrees. We're pulling the wool over their eyes, and it's just all fake.
And, by the way, those we actually.
What?
Oh, do you hear that?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I've got the I got to turn this down. You guys can't hear it. The all of a sudden I have the YouTube thing pulled up. It was just quiet because they're just showing the space. And now all of a sudden it's funny. They just started talking.
Oh,
so they're
it's our interview.
They're talking about that they're basically the crew is in their sleep chambers now. And so they'll wake up in less than 2 hours. They're like doing the countdown until they are up again. I mean, they're giving all the the details of everything. So it's just kind of funny that I don't know why you can't hear that, but it may be because it's on a different browser. I don't know. But it was funny. Like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, because it was this woman's first voice going, this is Mission Control Houston live on the NASA. And I was like, where is that coming from? I was like, oh yeah, I've got the thing still open on it. But anyway, but yeah, so they're going to spend all this money. I mean, I guess if you're going to pull off this fraud, you would pull it off. But you can't say that the rocket launches are fake.
Correct.
Because people are there. They watched the rocket go up into space. It's like you're not saying like, oh, we're going to do this from a secret military facility and we don't let anybody watch. Then you'd be like, well, that's kind of weird. But you can see it all over Florida when they launch these things. There are videos of people watching the launch.
Yeah.
People have been there.
I've been there for a shuttle launch. Yeah.
Right.
So
exactly.
they still have to spend the money to do that.
Right. So that's why I don't get this whole idea of we're going to fool everybody. Now, going back to the JFK thing, I firmly believe that Lee Harvey Oswald did not. I don't know if he fired. I think he may have been the one that fired the shots, but I don't think that he thought he was doing this by himself.
I will go that far. Somehow he was involved.
Absolutely.
And maybe to the point of he thought he was involved with others.
Right.
But again, they kind of made him the patsy, if you will. Like they told him enough.
Yeah. And he said that when he got arrested, I'm just a patsy and everything else. And then Jack Ruby shoots him to get rid of him because he probably would have been singing like a canary at any kind of trial. And then they screwed with Jack Ruby.
Yes.
When he was in his jail cell.
So, yeah, there's, yes, I love the Oliver Stone film. I still question all of that. Was there a certain segment of the government? I don't know, but someone orchestrated it. I'm going to go with that. Some group of people orchestrated something.
Yes.
So
there's no, if you still think that Lee Harvey Oswald was this lone gunman, I don't know what to tell you, because there's so much stuff that it's come out that our government has done over the years. You'd have a harder time convincing me he acted alone than that he had help or that he was part of a larger thing, because there's just so much out there. I mean, again, not to go down a really, really odd rabbit hole, but just seriously, they've now admitted, because people talked about this all the time. I can remember, again, as we sit here and talk on a Gen X Men podcast, I can remember being in high school and maybe the first part of college and people talking about the government doing mind control experiments and stuff. And we're all like, oh, come on. That's not really going. I remember I had a psychology teacher and at Mason that would talk about, there are these studies that they've done. And we're all like, get out of here. Nobody, we're like, nobody in the government. Like, again, at that point, you're thinking the government's not going to actually do guinea pig stuff on their own. Like, that's not happening. And then you go look up MK Ultra. That's all true. All of it is true. You want to do a deep dive? Look into that guy, Jolly West. He is a nightmare for this kind of stuff. They were doing things out in San Francisco during the hippie movement way back in the early 70s and stuff. Just awful things to people. So the idea that they can keep secrets like this, no, because all this stuff has now come out. They now freely admit that MK Ultra was a real thing. So is it just going to take another 50 years before they decide to tell everybody that space was fake? I don't think so. I think this is the one that maybe the tinfoil hat folks kind of lose me when it comes to we didn't go to space. Yeah,
I mean, this is the harder one, and as you said, we know the government has done things. I mean, goes far back as
lots of things.
The Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
Yes,
right.
Another great one.
Right. There's instances where the government said, "Well, we should look into this." Now, a special group said we should look into this, not thinking about the far-reaching of ethics and everything, but said, "Well, as a government, we need to look into this." And how we look into it's questionable. It's existed. 50 years from now, the space program is the space program. There's a lot of other things going on. And we were going to talk about this later. This ghost murmur, possible technology from recovering our downed aviator. But yeah, the government, is. You get into progressive versus conservative, and sometimes if you think about it, you hear the progressive side is, well, the ends justify the means. And I think without getting into that scenario of left versus right, there are portions of the government, they just have this worldview of, the ends justify the means. So if we have to do this to get over here
for the greater good,
then that's what we need to do. And that's, boy, you can go down some rabbit holes with that.
Well, I mean, again, just on the JFK stuff, when you look at who was in charge of the Warren Commission and stuff like that, and then you realize the people that may have been involved in planning the assassination are now in charge of the they're now in charge of the commission to look into it's like, what are we talking about? It's like the bank robber, well, I'm going to figure out who did this. And then you let the bank robber go and try to study the case on who robbed the bank. Well, they're not going to come up with them. They're going to be like, yeah, you know what? I looked into it. I did it. That's not going to happen. So when you have all that stuff, they're not going to come to that conclusion. They're going to give you all this nonsense and then be like, oh, at the end of it, they're like, yeah, I guess it's the guy that's dead that we can't talk to. He must have done it alone. There you go. Oh, no, I just spilled my drink all over.
Oh, dear. Good thing you're not in space. One of the cool things I didn't know this. We'll throw it out there. There's no bread on this space capsule.
No bread.
Because they don't like crumbs. That's very dangerous to the equipment. So they have to eat on tortillas if they're going to eat certain things. Because they don't crumble out.
What would you want your meals to be?
Probably if I'm going for 10 days, and this is why they would love me, I'm like, just give me tortilla sandwiches. Give me some wraps. I can get by. I don't need anything fancy.
I mean, if you're going
PB&J, maybe, probably.
I don't know, man. If you're going to, I've got a mess here, by the way. I spilled my drink. That's why you should always have capped drinks.
It's the government,
not cans. So dumb. Well, it was wrapped around my headphone cord. That's what happened. And I went to move my headphone cord, and when I did, I pushed my drink over. So now I'm gonna have to clean my carpet and my desk here at some point. Oh well. Anyway, but if you're going to space and you're one of the 4 people that are going to be going farther than any human has ever gone from Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't give me freeze-dried like ice cream, stuff that they used to sell us at the Air and Space Museum. Did you ever get that?
Oh, yeah. That was always every year. It was a big thing for our school. We were only 2.5 hours away from DC. It was always the big spring DC trip, right? And everyone was excited to go to the Air and Space Museum and get the astronaut ice cream.
Yeah, right. I don't want that. You figure out a way. I want steak.
I want ribeyes.
I want I'm like, dude, you're sending me farthest from the Earth that anybody has ever gone. And you expect me to eat freeze-dried wraps? I don't get bread because you're worried about crumbs? What are we going to have, mice while we're in space? What's the big deal? I want my steaks.
Well, I figure it'd be you could eat just like the bathroom system, which is vacuum assisted. So when you eat, you just kind of hold the nozzle next to you. So if there's crumbs or anything,
whatever. There's got to be. Wait, look, you're telling me they can't put a shop vac on that thing, and then after you eat, you can't do that. Why wouldn't that work?
You chase it. Remember, it's all floating. There's no artificial gravity.
I mean, I guess. Well, then why don't half the things? That's the other thing, and this is the only place where I'll go with people that say, "Well, look, the pen floats around, but nothing on that desk is floating around. How are some things floating and some things aren't?"
Velcro magnets. That was well known from the early space systems on how they kept everything just kind of from floating around. Because you always see their hair, especially the women, right? Their hair is always up and out. But no, I agree with you on the food because I did look it up.
Could they have a air fryer?
It's a good question.
Because there's no flame. I mean, I get why
it's just electric.
Yeah. I mean, I get why you couldn't have a little grill off to the side and pony up some steaks or something. But
do your spacewalk and grill outside.
Why couldn't you have an air fryer?
Yeah. Well, so I looked it up. It is actually only 6 to 9 months to Mars. So
okay, but still, you'd have to lock people away for a year or more because you have to go there and you have to come back. I just don't think people are going to be willing to get locked away in a warehouse on a soundstage to do this 1.5 year long play.
Correct.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, going back to the food. So, it's one thing to look, guys, suck it up. You're going to eat peanut butter and jelly for 10 days, right? That's one thing. Yeah. But now we're talking 6 to 9 months. We're probably gonna have to come up with some sort of different dietary system to utilize because
you're granted I took pills. It's just gonna your meals are gonna be pills because think about it. I mean, I guess they could make a larger, capsule to store all the food and everything else that you're gonna need for however long you're gonna be gone. If it's 6 to 9 months there and back, you're not going to Mars in 9 months and hanging out for a weekend.
Correct.
You're going to probably be on Mars for a couple of weeks, I would think, before you come back. Yeah. So you're looking at a year and a half. Let's just call it a round number, 2 years. It's a lot of food. It's a lot of food.
Well, I think their expectation is there will be supply rendezvous as a part of this system.
Isn't that the moon is supposed to be one of those, like a launching point from the moon?
Correct.
And then the whole thing is when they go up with Artemis 4 in a couple of years, they're going to actually start building that. Isn't that part of the plan?
Building the base starting next year is my understanding.
Yes, unmanned, they're going to drop stuff off.
Yeah, like capsules, and then we'll go put it together and have it running. Because it's easier to launch rockets off the moon because it doesn't have to. Yeah, you're not fighting gravity, so it's easier to send out supplies. And again, God bless the engineers that do the math of, okay, we're going to launch here, go this fast, aim that direction, and catch up to the capsule on the way or coming back. I mean, I was watching.
And some people would tell you that's not possible. That's why it's all fake. But I'm not one of them.
True. But I was just thinking of the math that went into that, trying to figure out these trajectories and rendezvous points just off this Artemis, because it was launch, circle the Earth twice, head out this way, knowing that you're going to meet up, we're going to meet the moon, circle it twice or once, and then keep coming back. Like, it's just mind-boggling to me.
Time you're landing into the Pacific Ocean and not run into San Diego itself, but be
correct
out. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, the math on that, if you're off a decimal or whatever, all of a sudden they're landing in Phoenix, and that's not good for anybody. So,
yes.
But yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I wouldn't want to go. I would do if they figured out a way, and we talked about this last week. If they figured out a way to do moon travel, like you could go tourist for a week, I think that'd be cool. I think by the time they're able to do it, we'll be too old because there's gonna be an age restriction, I'm sure, on it. I'm sure you're gonna have to go through, like, it's not gonna be like the Disney World tram where anybody can get on. Doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in. You can ride off into the sunset at Disney or whatever it is. You're probably going to have to be in pretty good shape to be able to do moon tourism.
Maybe. I mean, I look at it this way. It depends on who's running it. Is it the government or is it a private company like Virgin SpaceX or Tesla, right? Because they seem to be, I mean, look, somehow all the space program and they figured out how to launch rockets, bring them back, and catch them. So, I mean, they seem to be a bit more aggressive on what we can and can't do, and was it Blue Origin, Amazon sending people up?
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like the private companies are a little bit more open to like, can we do this? Let's do that. Let's, so maybe we could be 90 and get shuttled up there.
I mean, I don't know. I would think that the G-forces and stuff like that would be so drastic on your bones and the bone density and everything else. I would think that at some point it's just like, sorry. I mean, maybe if you kept yourself in shape, okay, but I just don't think, like, I just don't think, even if you're in your 20s, I think if you're, so obese, and everything else, that they probably be like, can't risk it, dog. Your heart can't take this. So you're going to have to stay here on Earth. Sorry.
But that would be a government answer, right? Private entity, like how much money do you have?
Yeah,
this is not going to turn out well, right? Oh, okay, then we'll cash that check. Let's do this.
Well, yeah, I mean, if somebody's like, I don't care if I die, then I guess you could be like, well, all right. But I don't know. I just don't buy it. I just think it would be too hard. If you're not in shape, I mean, think about those astronauts have to go through to train for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to tell me that just some schmo off the street with an extra $50K Is oh yeah, strap him in, it'll be fine. I just don't buy it. You know, it's not like being at King's Dominion where we went when you grew up, and you're like got some teenager pulling up on your lap bar, being like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It may get to that point, though, right?
What's that?
It may get to that point, right? It becomes so commonplace, like you said, it's the 15-year-old weekend worker yanking on the bar. You're good. You're good to go. That suit, we just duct tape over that little rip. You'll be fine.
That might be hundreds of years from now. That's not going to be right off the gate. Because, yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, that's always, I mean, when we were kids, you didn't think about it. But now I go, they had like 18-year-olds just be like, everybody in? You good? Feel confident? All right. And they hit the button and launch, off you go. You're like, all right. I mean, this guy must know what he's doing. He's got a uniform and a name tag.
So, similar to that, when I worked in another town here, there was a big festival every year. And part of that was the mobile carnival that would come in, right?
Oh,
the ride you see on the back of the trucks and everything. Yeah. And so part of that was fire chief, as the fire marshal for the town, had to inspect these rides. And there was quite often the day before, they knew where the machine shop was, that they had to go, you need that welded, you need that fixed, this needs to be fixed, right? And so just thinking about, not only do you have, you know, the kid with the name tag, but now you've got rides that are in just jumbled disrepair.
Oh yeah, I never ride those rides. There's no chance that I'm riding any of those. Was that the Skowhegan County Fair?
No, it would be the Yarmouth Clam Festival.
Okay, because the Skowhegan County Fair in Maine, as you're aware of, the longest running fair in the United States. Is the oldest.
Fair season is a big time here late summer.
There's
a couple big ones. It's all about it's not the county fair anymore, except for that. I mean, it's just towns host their fairs. So
okay.
It's a big deal.
I can remember, and I live now just up the road from the Prince William County Fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
But I can remember going to, because the Fairfax County Fair was always stupid. They just did it at like Eagle Bank Arena in the parking lot. That was your fair. It was like, whatever. Prince William County, I remember coming down here and they had the rides and everything. And we had brought the kids down and they were off running around. And I had a friend that we actually went to school with at Mason. She was down there doing some of the horse riding demonstration stuff or whatever. So I was over there talking to her and her husband at the time and kind of walking through and standing there at one of the rides. And I look down, I see like a bucket next to one of these rides, and it's full of various bolts and screws and washers, just, you know, anything you can think of. So I'm like, it's kind of weird to just have this big giant bucket out here. So I asked the guy, I said, you know, just jokingly, I said, did you guys just run out of places to put the bolts and things? And he goes, oh, that's if you're missing one. You come, he goes, that's like just the extras. He's like, a lot of times we'll put stuff together and be like, oh, so you throw it in the bolt bucket. They called it the bolt bucket. Throw it in. He goes, so if like another ride, if they're like, there's supposed to be 8 bolts in here, I only have 7. You come over to the bolt bucket and you find your bolt. And I'm like, this is amazing. It's like, that's amazing. It's
well,
a big giant plastic jug.
And that's typical. I've seen it. And what gets me more, if you stop and think about it, and I haven't seen the data recently, is there's so many of these rides out there, right? Mobile, carnivals, moving around. But if you run the number, I mean, the injury factor, I mean, there could be smaller injuries, but we're not having these, you know, massive collapses or anything.
Right.
It doesn't happen. It's a rare, it just keeps, you know, the system works apparently. So don't mess with it. Let the bolt bucket keep that bolt bucket.
If you need the bolt bucket, then just use the bolt bucket. Whatever. I was just like, okay, man, whatever works for you, I'm all about it. That's fine. I'm not getting on that ride, but whatever works for you guys.
Oh, I just in my head, I was just thinking, I'd love to see the NASA version of that. Well, we got that loaded up, but I think we're missing something here.
Right.
Send Joey down for the bolt bucket.
Yeah.
See if we can bolt this on.
The worst part is when you've done something like you take something apart, you put it back together, and then you're left with extra stuff. Then you're like, "How did this happen?" Like, I specifically went through and you're looking like there's no other screw holes where these things could go. How do I have these things left over? Never. It's all if you have extra, you put it back together, you're like, oh, I must have lost a screw because there's an extra hole where that goes. Then you go, well, I might have kicked it somewhere. I might whatever. Then you got to go find extra screw. But when you have leftover parts, then you're like, how'd this happen? So I've gotten to the point now, because I still do a lot of stuff on my own, that I now start from the very beginning, and it's pictures, and then you take the panel off, and then pictures. I'll even write down 6 screw, whatever it is, because I'm like, I don't want to screw this up, put it back together, and then be like, oh, I forgot this screw, or this washer goes here. What am I doing? So yeah, I just, again, the last couple of weeks ago, I had to redo our dryer, had to change the heating element in it. And I mean, I've still on my phone have the pictures of here's where this is, here's where this is, here's where this is, because I'm like, I don't want to burn down my house.
Yeah.
By not having a wire stuck where it's supposed to go. So far, so good. The house is still here.
A little tip for you. You can use it however you want. An old neighbor, he was very OCD. So watching him take apart, he was working on his car. On the workbench, he put down butcher paper. So if a piece went over there, it set, and he would draw a square around it and then mark what it was, what step it was.
Smart.
And you could do the same thing for, but it was just funny. And like I said, he probably never ended up with extra parts or parts that were missing, because
probably didn't.
He would. That's what he would do. He had a big roll on the end. He'd pull it across. So it didn't matter what he was working on. Small things, big. The part would go over there. He'd take a Sharpie, mark a square, write what it was, what order it came out. Like you said, 6 bolts, 6 nuts. You just, just meticulous.
Smart. I've seen people do that when they're working on their cars, except they'll use Ziploc bags.
Okay.
And so they put all the screw, and they'll write, whatever it may be. If you're changing your brakes, maybe you write in whatever it is, and put it off to the side. And the next thing, put it off to the side. That I've seen that. I've never seen the butcher paper. That would seem a little bit more effective, so you're not having to dig into the Ziploc bag. But that's smart.
Yeah, because his theory was, I put it, as it comes off or whatever I'm taking apart, in order, right? It's now in order. So then when I just go backwards to put it back together.
Smart.
Right? Yeah.
Smart.
Have I ever done that? No. And I can tell you how many things I've lost just going, shoot, where did that go?
I have one of those, what do they call them, action cameras. It's not a GoPro.
Okay.
I think it's a DJI or whatever, or DJI or whatever it is. I can't remember. But I've got the little head thing for it, if you're going to be out there skiing or something like that. And I mean, I could just, I think I might just start filming. I thought about that too, just film the whole process. And then when you go back to redo it, if you're like, oh, where does this thing go? Well, you can go back and go to the videotape. Like, there's where that goes. And so I've thought about that too. I honestly should start doing videos and throwing them up online of hey, here's what I tried to do and it didn't work, so don't do this. There's so many videos out there. People here's how you do all this stuff. And they're mechanically sound and inclined. They know what they're doing. And those are great because I've watched them and learned things from them. I want the ones where the guy goes, yeah, I tried this.
Don't do it.
It didn't work.
And here's why. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
A negative outcome situation.
Yeah.
Lessons learned, right?
Yeah. Something like that, where I can be like, look, I tried taking this apart, and eventually it took me an hour and a half and I got to it, but I'm going to save you a good hour. Here's what you don't do. That's what I need. That's the kind of videos I need to start doing.
No, they're perfect, because I admit I used it yesterday. I was having to put together some sewer hose for the old RV.
All right.
So you get in the hose, coil wrapped hose, and then you've got to put the fittings on. And when you get the fittings right up next to the hose, you go, oh, that's kind of the same size, right? And you're just looking at going, oh, geez. So let me go see what the experts do. So we sat down and go into YouTube, and
absolutely.
The key was heat, right? Because it loosens everything up. And I was like, oh, there we go. I should have thought of that, but I was cold and frustrated at that point. A little heat gun to the end, and next thing you know, the couplings are just sliding right in and clamp them right down.
Beautiful.
Like, thank God for YouTube.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of heat for that situation, but I've done that in the past with pond piping. Where I've had a pond in the backyard, and you're trying to get it. And again, the hose that goes into the filter, as you said, same diameter, same everything. You're like, well, these are just going to bang against each other. This isn't going to work. And then you're like, do I need to get an adapter to screw onto here so it's smaller? No, the same thing. I just literally went and boiled water.
Yes.
And then stuck the one in the boiling water of the hose, and then ran outside real quick, and it slid right on there. And then when it cools, it sucks right into place. And yeah, you leak free, man. That works great.
Yeah. Well, and that was the first video was boil a pot of hot water and dip it in, like you said. And I'm like, all right, so now I've got to go boil water. Like, now we're adding all these steps. And I was like, oh, geez. So then the next video was a hair dryer.
Heat gun's perfect. Yeah, hair dryer.
And then I was like, well, I got a heat gun. And I, smart enough to not just jam the heat gun on it, right? Yeah. Just stand back and let it start to get soft and willowy. And like you said, slide it right on, clamped it right down, and we're good to go.
Yeah, so. As long as you don't catch it on fire.
Yes.
And you don't want to melt it. You just want to get it to the point where it's pliable. And then it works great.
NASA should start their own channel like that. This is how we do this.
Yeah, but then they'd have to tell everybody it's fake. So here's how we did this. Stanley Kubrick's dead now, so we can tell you all of his secrets. That's that's always something. But with that, and we didn't, as far as we know, and I'll go look back here real quick. Yep, Artemis has not found any aliens yet. As far as the video that
there was not. I looked at the video from the dark side of the moon, if you will, and I didn't see anything.
The far side of the moon, Gary. It's not like dark. It's the far side. It's not Pink Floyd. But anyway, I have to wonder though if in all of this we've seen so many things. And by the way, again, I say what you want about Joe Rogan, whether you like him, hate him, think he's a fraud. I don't care. He had Bob Lazar on recently, like last week. Bob Lazar is the guy that since like the late 80s, we were talking about Area 51. Mm-hmm. Bob Lazar is the guy that since the late 80s has said he saw this spaceship, doesn't know how it works. He worked on the propulsion system, trying to figure out like anti-gravity stuff, all those things. Rogan just had him on. I guess they're doing a movie about his experiences or whatever. To me, I listened to the whole thing. It's like 3 hours. He's pretty credible because Rogan would ask him a question, he'd answer it, and then like later on in the conversation, I don't know if Rogan just forgot that he already asked the question or if he was just trying to see if he could trip him up or whatever. He'd ask kind of the same question, but in a different way, and he would give the exact same answer. And if he didn't know something, he wasn't like most people go, well, I mean, if you look at it, it could maybe it's this. He was just like, man, I have no idea. We weren't allowed to work on that. Okay, fair enough. Because Rogan was asking me, he's like, what do you think the ship was made out of? He goes, I don't know. That wasn't my thing. I wasn't the metal guy. They had metal guys there, whatever he called them. But we weren't allowed to talk to them. It's like, wait, what? It's like, that's not, as he says, it's not the scientific method. You should all be working together to figure out what this thing is. He used a great example of, and I don't know what text this is in, so I'm going to screw it up. I'm not going to say that it's in the Bible because I don't know, it might be somewhere else, where they talk about the blind men and the elephant. You've heard this story before, right?
Yeah.
With one of them is feeling the tail, one of them feels the trunk, one of them feels the ears. They all come to different conclusions, but the answer is it's an elephant.
Yeah.
But all different things make it an elephant. So if you just had the tusk, you would think it was something different than somebody who just touched the tail, who just like that. So his whole point was like, he didn't know what any of that stuff was because he wasn't allowed to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't talk to anybody else about it because they kept them separate from it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it makes you wonder all this technology that they have perhaps gleaned from this thing, because it's now been over 30 years, and maybe even longer, because he was brought into the project. It's not like they found the spaceship and was like, Bob, look what we found. He was brought in because somebody else was no longer working on the project, and he doesn't know if the guy got injured or killed. But basically,
or just got old.
Well, no, I mean, I guess his boss, in listening to this conversation, his boss had said, yeah, we had, I don't know, this guy, Brian, I don't remember what the guy's name was. Yeah, the guy that was here before you, Brian, yeah, he had an accident, so he's no longer working here. So you don't know, did he get in? Like Lazar said, I don't know if he got injured or if he had an accident and it killed. Like, he doesn't, like, don't know. Have no idea. But you wonder, with all that stuff, when we go like NASA going to the moon, if they figured out new propulsion systems or whatever from this, all these things that they've been studying perhaps, or you look at what they pulled off in Venezuela with the
Maduro,
with Maduro, with that thing, or the latest thing, which was wild, how we found our pilot over there in Iran. That's crazy. The ghost murmur.
Yeah. I mean, there's, for those of you who don't know, it was kind of said it's questionable if it was real. Some people are saying it can't be done, others saying it could be. Is the CIA, of all people, have this technology?
Shocker,
right? That they use these spectrum sensors and use AI for filtering, that they could pick up the weapons officer, because that was the second one that they rescued, and that was the more complicated one. He went hiding. Is they could pick up his heartbeat from over 40 miles away, so they could pinpoint where he was, because they weren't able to use the beacons the entire time because the Revolutionary Guard was, monitoring channels, and they jam things and everything. They were able to use this supposed technology to be able to pick up his heartbeat somewhere there in the mountains, to be able to pinpoint his location. And to me, that was just mind-boggling, because the way it was presented was Trump kind of let it slip. Now, you could say, oh, that was on purpose. I don't know. It just seemed like a slip, because I think the other guy from the CIA was like, oh, we're not talking about that. And kind of doused it.
Right? I mean,
it is Trump.
Love him or hate him, he's got zero filter. He just doesn't care. It's just like when Obama started talking about aliens, and Trump was like, well, you know what? Not supposed to talk about that. I might have to put him in jail. Again, I think it's just Obama put it out there, and that's why I still say we're
getting there.
That we're going to tell us by the end of the year that it's coming. I think, to be honest with you, I think Obama was trying to drop the dime. He wanted to be the one. I think all of these presidents, here's my theory, all these presidents that know what's going on,
the book of secrets,
they all want to be the one to tell everybody. They want to be the one to be like, look, I'm the one that told them, hey, I'm going to break it to you. They're out there. I think all of them want to be that person. And just for whatever reason, the people that are like career, you call them deep state, you can call them whatever they want, whatever you want. I think those are the people who are like, no, you can't, we can't do this. We can't do this. Because it's been, I think they've had other presidencies have studied like, hey, what if we told people they were aliens? How do you think it would go? And then they look into it and they're like, yeah, I don't think we can handle that. I think we could. Now we're distracted by so many other things. I think it would be a collective shrug.
Yeah. There would be a large segment of go, yeah, we knew. Thanks. Right. And then the rest
Thanks for being honest.
Yeah. And then the others would be like, really? Okay. So, and I think it's probably someone statistically said we need to reach this point percentage wise where people go, okay, yeah, all right, we knew. Right. That's when it's going to be safe to just let it all out.
And that's
where's that tipping point? Where is that tipping point?
It's coming I think when, honestly, Artemis is going to get back, they're going to debrief all these people. They're going to let them out of the warehouse or whatever you believe, fish them out of the ocean. that's the other thing. Like, not to dwell on this because I want to get back to the weapon stuff, but like, you're going to watch the capsule splash down in the ocean, right? We're going to see that live, I would think.
Yes.
And then you're going to see the ship come out, and you're going to get them. Like, I don't know, maybe there won't be a shot of them climbing out of the capsule that they get out of the ocean. I don't know, but my thing is like, how would you get them out there? Like, where are you putting them in the capsule and then drop them from the sky into the ocean? How are you pulling that off if this is all fake?
It'd just be good editing. Capsule that looks the same drops, but that we've already got it floating out there, right? We jump cut. I agree with you. Like, live coverage, it's going to be instantaneous, but people argue, oh, look there, that doesn't have any scarring on it, so that must have not left the atmosphere.
Look at the pixelation on that shot. Yeah, that's true. But my thing is, if it is some warehouse somewhere, these people are very confident that they're in a warehouse on a sound. Where is it? Like, if you know that it exists and you know this is how they're doing it, you've got all these details, but you can't tell me where it is. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, there's that empty movie studio setup in North Georgia that the people of people of Georgia spent a lot of money. So we're going to start making movies here. They built this huge complex, and now it's empty. So maybe it's there. Maybe they're hiding out in North Georgia.
Maybe I don't know. But it's as far as the weapon stuff go, or the beacon, the murmur, or whatever it is. I mean, I buy that. Why wouldn't they be able to? I mean, I think the government is so far ahead of us in technology that I don't shrug at any of this stuff and go, oh no, that's crazy. There's no way they could do that, because I mean, think about all the things that they had before it ever got out into the public that have come from clandestine black ops, things that the CIA or the FBI, or I'm assuming CIA, NSA, and those people have stuff way before any of us do.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you just go on the timeline, I mean, you got to think the shuttle started flying in the 80s. Well, it didn't just show up in the 80s and started flying. Like, there was probably 10 years of development production that we really know about going on. And then that's not military, but like what goes into it, the B-2 stealth bomber, right? All of a sudden it shows up, they finally decide to let us know about it, but it didn't just show up. Like, it had been in the works. And so you get into the skunk works from Lockheed Martin and DARPA and all these others. And I think we've said this before, how fun would be the group of people sitting there going, what can we do? And can we do it? Right. And just come up with these ideas, and we're doing this. So, with Venezuela, when they got Maduro, they were talking about, an energy weapon. Like, they could disable people without having to actually shoot them. Someone came up with the idea, they developed it, and, they used it and finally said, well, we're going to talk about it now. And so the same thing with that, the same thing with this ghost murmur of being able to track someone down through their heartbeat. The technology is all out there. It's just undercovered and hidden well till I guess we can either A, use it because it's perfected, and then B, okay, then we can talk about it now. And so I'll go with that on the aliens. That's why I think this whole Mars thing is going to play into it. Is we're going to Mars and we're going to see things and hear things. These would be the times to say, well, yep, there is aliens out there, right? It just seems like the timing would be right to finally talk about it, because now we're going out into space and we're going to find things that we can't, not report and not see necessarily. And I think, as you said, by the end of the year, maybe next year with this program, is where we start to find out more and more, what do we really know?
Yeah. And I just think, like, well, honestly, I think they're already here. I don't think, and again, I don't think it's a situation where they're like, UFOs in the sky or anything. I think, honestly, they're here and around like all the time. Like, we just don't realize it because, again, we're wrapped up into our own little worlds and everything else. We're not really paying attention and looking around. And let's be honest, the ocean is vast. If you're gonna hide, look, if you've got the ability to get here and get here undetected for the most part, why wouldn't you have the technology to then say, okay, where's the easiest place to hide on this rock? In the water. It's the easiest place to hide because we don't have cameras all over the place in the water and the depths and everything else. So that's the easiest place to hang out and be here. So it would not shock me at all if they said, yes, aliens have visited and actually they're still here and this is where they live. Wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be somewhere extreme where most humans. So it's either going to be cold weather, i.e. one of the poles, right? Okay. Or like you said, water. Somehow water-based, deep trenches, just, for those, if you look at a map, the South Pacific is pretty vast and open, and there's just not a lot out there. So,
they're not going to live like it's suddenly not going to be like, oh, yeah, by the way, and here's their home base in Minneapolis or like wherever. It'll be like, oh, they've been in Tulsa all this time. Like, that's not going to happen because then everybody is going to rush to those places. Well, if it's someplace remote that you can't get to easily, you're not going.
Yeah.
If they told you, oh, yeah, the alien bases are beyond the ice wall in Antarctica. Well, you and I, as much as we may want to, have no ability to get to the ice wall in Antarctica. We can't get there. So you're just kind of like, okay. Now, are there millionaire people that might be able to try? Sure. But it's still nearly impossible to get there.
Yes.
Like you can't fly down to Antarctica and then go across.
Start looking around.
Yeah. It's not possible. It's inhospitable to humans. It's not going to work. So,
and we know the government controls the satellites even through Google Space. So if we need to just scrub a zone, we scrub a zone, right? And
they've done that before too.
Yeah.
I mean, try to look wherever there is like, Area 51 or whatever. And again, I don't think anything is at Area 51 anymore because everybody knows about it. So why would you still have stuff there? But there are other places that you try to look and it's completely blurred out on Google Earth. They just like, no, can't do it.
Yeah. Well,
I think they've done that with the alien homes, probably.
The alien homes. What would that look like?
I don't know. They'll tell us eventually. But that's the thing is if they are living in the ocean, let's say, again, if it's in the deep South Pacific or whatever it is, you're not going there. Like, there's not suddenly going to be a rush of people headed out to the South Pacific or whatever it is. It's not possible for the average person to go out and be like, oh, we'll sit out here and wait for the aliens to show up. It's not going to happen.
It won't look like Black Friday where people are rushing to get there.
Exactly. Or what is it? What is it? The Mad Max when they're driving across the desert. It's not going to be like that with everybody holding their guns in the air going, let's get those aliens. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And besides, them being here, we have to hope that they are friendly because we can't win. That's the whole thing. Like you see Independence Day and stuff like that. And those are fun movies and everything else. But again, if they have the ability to get here and hang out and not be seen, what are we going to do?
Right. I mean, it's
pointless.
Yeah. The premise, I mean, whether they have good intentions or bad, if they exist, have the technology to get here, stay undiscovered, just go down the list, what are we going to do about it?
Nothing. You're not sending Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum up there to insert a virus into their mothership. Like it's not going to happen. We're not smart enough to do that. Just not. But what other kinds of, I guess, weaponry I mean, I totally buy they kind of had to admit to it for the Venezuelan thing because those guys came out and said, yeah, we were incapacitated. There's nothing we could do about it. Started bleeding from their ears and noses, they said, or whatever. Yes. I mean, like, that's brutal, but I guess it's better than being shot through the head.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, and I guess it depends on how you want to look at it. I don't think enough credit was given that we, ballsy that we went and just took their leader.
Right.
Boom, we went and got him. But the fact that, they were able to use this weapon and essentially no one get killed, like, that was, to me, the most, like, you flew into a foreign country, not necessarily hostile, dropped in troops, incapacitated their people,
right,
grabbed their leader, and flew him out. No problems, right?
Right.
Done. Like, to me, that is just like, holy crap, incredible, right? Because now you have to go, especially for some other country, well, if they did that, could they do that here? Like, it made people reset everything of, could this happen? Because to me, it's one of those things. Yes, we, with our president, we've had the Secret Service and great security, but I'm sure to a certain point, did anyone plan on these kind of things at any level of security? Other countries like, wow, could someone really just sneak in and grab them? Like, right? I mean, thought-provoking even for us. Like, wait a second, is this possible? Could someone else pull this off? I doubt it, just because I think we just have that level of security around the president. But some of these other countries have to go, they actually flew into the Capitol and grabbed him from a military base.
Right.
So that had to put someone on pause somewhere. Like, hold on here.
I think so. But if we have it, do we think everybody else has it? I don't mean everybody else. I don't mean like all other, like, do we think China has developed this? Do we think Russia has developed this? Do we think those countries have this same ability? Or, again, have we cracked some code and now we're well ahead of everybody else?
Yeah. I would think I wouldn't put anything past China at all, ever. Because I just think their goal to be dominant has always been based on what can we do, what can do. Russia, I think, had that at one point. I just don't think they are what they were. Like, I mean, as people are talking about, Russia rolling through Europe, they couldn't get through Ukraine. And yes, we spent a lot of money giving them weapons and everything, but they really didn't succeed. So I'd be less concerned about what they're actually doing. I think, whether it's budgets or how they are, they're still stuck last century in terms of thought processes. Whereas you get a China, I think they're on par with us of, well, can we do this? Should we be able to do that? I think they're just aggressive.
Why aren't we doing this?
Correct.
Why are we not doing this? And I think it's also foolhardy to believe that we're the only ones to have been lucky enough to have these alien spacecraft crash in the U.S. That would seem to be really fortunate from our end of things, like that we're the ones that have all these. I just don't think that these spaceships were either crashed or donated, whatever you want to call it. Maybe the aliens are like, here's what we've done. You guys figure it out. Like, I just don't get that we were the lucky ones that ended up with it. I think if there are these crafts, I think they're being held at a lot of other different places around the world as well. It'd be really strange if we were the only ones that had it.
Well, I mean, but that's the nature of our government. Like, if we pure happenstance, we got the first craft that we could get our hands on. I'm sure, knowing our government at the time, 40s, 50s, I don't know if that's even when it occurred.
If you believe in Roswell, sure.
If you believe in Roswell, that I'm sure that thing just got buried and confused, and that was our leg up advantage, if you will. Like, we are not going to let this out. So release stories, do this, do that, just confuse the whole system, because this wonderful thing just kind of landed in our lap and it's ours and we're not going to share it. So I totally see that from our government.
I mean, it could, but I just think there are too many other places around the world that have had sightings and reports of crashes and everything. I just don't buy that we were lucky enough that we're the only ones that it happened to crash in the middle of the desert in New Mexico. Like, really? That's the luck for us, and it's happened to nowhere else, despite all these reports of other places and other things and crashing. Like, I just don't buy it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because my thing is, if it had happened somewhere else, and again, this is American centric, then we would know. Like, I just don't think there's except for China, the infrastructure that would just be able to cover it up as well as we have. And I don't know, maybe we were the designated, outer space alien gathering country that, look, we all know this is happening. We're the ones that can handle it. So if you get one, let us know. We'll come get it, take care of it. And, maybe.
I mean, that's a lot of trust in the United States. Even if you look at Roswell back there in the late 40s, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think about, but I am interested to see what the next technology is going to come out, because if they can, again, pinpoint that soldier from however far away, and again, and know that it's, I mean, I guess you figured out with the beacons and everything else that it's not, oh, that's definitely our guy and not somebody else. I mean, I think at some point in the military, maybe whether it's in your uniform or whatever it is, they're going to have a way to put sensors in or something that they'll be able to track, even if your heartbeat isn't available. They might be able to track it some other way.
Yeah.
And I don't mean beacons. I mean even more sophisticated than a beacon symbol.
Yeah.
Like even more sophisticated than a radio symbol.
I'm sure it's all coming. I figured that, just going off basics, the reason this worked is he climbed 7,000 feet to a ridge, right?
Sure.
Even with a busted ankle. So the theory to me would be, we need to get you somewhere isolated, right? Away from others. Because what would be the chances of someone else up, 7,000 feet?
Well, right.
Or at least, okay, it's one of 10 heartbeats we're picking up there versus, okay, you're hiding out in Manhattan and we're going to figure you out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, you want to aim high for extrication points, et cetera, and everything that went on with that. So that's where I think, the technology worked. Like, hey, we can trace his heartbeat this way because we know he's by himself up there. Right. And so when part of it was the AI filtering, like they were able to capture the noise, the sensors, and filtrate out everything that didn't make sense. So there's your AI capability coming in to be able to track his heartbeat. And so by isolating him up on top of that ridge, right, we've narrowed down, like, okay, we're getting this reading and that is probably him and that's where he's at.
Yeah, it's amazing what they were able to pull off, however they did it. And if they helped out with their technology, awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it. Hopefully they're still out there doing it. But
the other fun parts that they were talking about was, it wasn't just that. I mean, it was also like they had diversionary rescue set up, right? That they were just sending planes and people over to another location to make the Revolutionary Guard go, oh, he must be over there, right? And so they start reacting to, like, they kept doing it like 7 or 8 times. They said these pre-planned fake rescues to keep them off their toes. Just so that's not even technology. That was just basic, like, wow, you guys really pulled this off for this guy.
It's smart. Yeah. It was definitely smart. It was definitely smart. Again, I say what you want about Trump, like him, hate him, whatever. The ultimate answer is, and it wouldn't matter who was president, our military is still pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
They're still, I mean, again, say what you want. I don't care if you don't like Pete Hegseth, whatever. Doesn't matter. At the lower levels, the people that are still carrying these things out are still some of the best in the world at it. Exactly. They're amazing. Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. So, good place to leave it, I think, for the week. Do you have, before we call it a day, do you have any parting thoughts for our wonderful audience out there?
Well, I would say, if you blend in Artemis, if you blend in going to look for this, we don't leave anyone behind. That's what America does best. We won't stop looking. We keep going out there. We'll come find you. We'll come get you. That's what we do.
This concludes this episode of Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhite. Gen X Men is now off the air.